Happening right now at your local Honda dealer.
Good morning, America. As we come on the air, monster Hurricane Maria. It's tearing into Puerto Rico right now. Millions seeking shelter from winds topping 150 miles an hour.
I'm really scared.
Torrential rain, life-threatening floods, and storm surge. A trail of destruction across the Caribbean. Many Americans still trapped. Our team live in the storm zone this morning.
The search for survivors. That devastating earthquake rocking Mexico, killing more than 200 people. The 7.1 magnitude quake leveling buildings, sending flames shooting into the sky. Crews desperately trying to pull school children from the rubble. The race to rescue so many this morning.
Words of war. The world reacts to President Trump's defiant America First UN speech, where he hammered Iran and threatened to totally destroy North Korea.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission.
UN Ambassador Nikki Haley here live to respond.
And violent hazing scandal. The college football players turning themselves in, facing felony charges, accused of abducting, beating, and abandoning their teammate, leaving him severely injured. One of the accused, the son of a former NFL star. The major investigation this morning.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. We have two big breaking stories this morning. The death toll is climbing from that massive earthquake in Mexico. So much destruction. And you see right there, the desperate recovery efforts continue right now.
And millions in Puerto Rico are in the path of Hurricane Maria, trying to find shelter from the deadly storm. You're looking live at the hurricane right there, slamming the island as we speak. It made landfall just moments ago as a Category 4 storm.
And the governor is warning it could be Puerto Rico's most catastrophic hurricane in nearly a century.
Right on top of last week, our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, tracking it all. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning, George. Category 4 hurricane, the first for Puerto Rico to make landfall earlier this morning since 1932, and now it's sitting on that southeast corner, bringing those heavy winds, much over 100 miles per hour, the extreme wind warning for 115 plus miles per hour winds. That includes San Juan, and really close, we just wanted to put on the gust at the last hour, 91, and that is where we find our Victor Akendo. I'm going to show you that track coming, what happens after this, but we've got to get to Victor because the pictures coming out of Puerto Rico, amazing, Victor.
Ginger, we're down here on the street level where conditions are just getting worse. The winds are so loud, so powerful, and they're only getting stronger. If you can see behind me, there is already a lot of debris covering the streets out here in the area of San Juan where we are. This is called Condado. It's a very popular tourist destination. There are a lot of tourists staying here at the hotel thinking that they were okay because Hurricane Irma passed by. They were not expecting Maria to become what it is now. The big concern here, the wind damage and the storm surge, especially for certain homes across the island. Puerto Rico is filled with homes that were built to no code at all. They were built illegally, and those are the homes, in speaking with an engineering professor at a university here, saying that those are the ones that are most at risk. Those are the ones that will be destroyed, possibly washed away by the storm surge. That said, a lot of the homes were built to a certain code, built to withstand winds of 125 miles per hour, but that's like a Category 2 hurricane. Maria, obviously much stronger than that. Ginger just mentioned it. Puerto Rico hasn't been tested by a storm this strong since 1932. The winds, as I mentioned, continue to pick up. Just look at that. There's a piece of metal shielding out here. It looks like that came from some kind of awning, and it's only getting worse here in this area. As far as the storm surge is concerned, number-wise, we could be looking at about 6 to 9 feet, and the people who work here at the hotel, they tell us that it's already worse here than when Hurricane Irma passed by, much worse at this point. Guys, I'm going to send it back to you for right now. We're going to go back to our safe spot.
Yeah, you better get inside, Victor. Thanks very much. Senior meteorologist Rob Marciano, also in the storm zone. He's in San Juan. Let's get to him.
Hurricane Maria slamming Puerto Rico. The island now taking a direct hit. Infrastructure already weakened from Irma.
We have not experienced an event of this magnitude in our modern history.
People scrambling to board up their homes and make it to one of the 500 shelters now open. Overnight in Puerto Rico, the airport shutting down.
We're going to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, so we can get out of the storm.
We hope. We hope.
This group vacationing in Puerto Rico on a group honeymoon. Now taking cover in their hotel room as Maria barrels over the island.
We prepared, we have supplies. We've thought about worst case scenario situations.
The hurricane ripping through the Caribbean.
You can't really see it, but you can hear it.
Wreaking havoc on the Virgin Islands.
Winds have picked up a lot.
At its height, a Category 5 storm with winds of 175 miles per hour.
I'm scared. I'm really scared.
St. Croix taking a pounding. People there trying to ride out the storm. John Rose was there with 3 friends as Maria moved in.
We're in a solid 3-story concrete structure. We moved into our second room. Our first room started having a lot of water come in.
It is very scary. And the wind, I think, is over 105 miles an hour right now.
The storm claiming at least 1 life in Guadalupe with more missing. 80,000 people without power. Neighborhood streets now rivers. Dominica taking a direct hit. Communications nearly all cut off. Family members of a med student at Ross University trying desperately to reach out to the island, still with no power.
You want to know your loved ones are safe, your family, your friends. Marco's been there since May. He's an awesome kid, and just need to hear from him.
First-year med student Marco Bojkovic's parents say they haven't heard from their son since Monday night.
Just tell me when to go. And we are back here on the northern side of San Juan here. I can only imagine what went down when this thing made landfall in the southeast corner of this island. Obviously, the eye getting closer and closer to us, that eye wall now scraping the northern beaches here. These palm trees are just being tested to their limit right now. You barely see the surf behind me through all this rain that's blowing sideways. It is just pounding this shoreline and coming up on some of the buildings here. The storm surge is actually really encroaching on this building here, which is standing up fairly well. It's pretty impressive how this particular structure is built. Still, communications have been hard. Our signal's been going up and down. You can see the ferocity of this wind right here. Not a whole lot of damage reports coming in yet, obviously, because of the communication, but I assure you, even as a Category 4, they will be substantial. This is the strongest storm that this island has seen in over 80 years. Governor telling us, by the way, this morning that 10,000 people roughly checked into shelters last night, which honestly seems like a low number considering how many people were evacuated out of the southeast corner of this island. So hopefully people got to safe and sturdy structures like we are right now. But there is debris flying around the city of San Juan, and really we're just now getting into the tough stuff, guys.
Well, we can see that, Robin. That's why we want you to get inside right now. You're way too close to that balcony. Thanks for that report.
Wow. And now we're going to go back to Ginger in our Extreme Weather Center for new developments on Hurricane Maria's track. Ginger.
Yeah, he needs to get inside because we just saw a 113-mile-per-hour gust in San Juan itself, and the eye not even there yet. The radar had the eye on it, and then the radar went out. And so that's the type of thing we're seeing with this Category 4 storm. As it keeps going to the north and east, you don't have to worry not just about storm surge and the wind, but the rainfall. You could see up to 25 inches with flash flooding possible, especially on the eastern side of Puerto Rico. As it tracks north and east of Dominican Republic, they'll still get lashed with some of the heavier winds and waves. And then Turks and Caicos, just east of them, east of the Bahamas, stays east of Florida and South Carolina and North Carolina. Looks like we could see this interact with Jose. I'm going to detail all of that and what it could mean for us next week coming up, guys.
Okay, Ginger, of course we're going to stay on Hurricane Maria all morning long, but we're going to turn to that devastating earthquake in Mexico. The search is on for survivors after that deadly quake struck about 75 miles southeast of Mexico City. The 7.1 magnitude quake killing more than 200 people. Many are still missing this morning. Our senior national correspondent Matt Gutman is there for us and has the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Robin. And that death toll continues to rise with each passing hour. We now know that there are at least 20 school children among the dead. Officials say they were trapped when their building pancaked on top of them. And now in Mexico City, the frantic effort to try to rescue those that are still living.
This is what it looked like when the 7.1 quake struck near Mexico City.
We just lost the building, Mexico City.
Powerful enough to pancake office buildings and schools. At least 21 children and 4 teachers killed after an entire wing of an elementary school collapsed. Rescue workers scrambling to find the missing. Overnight, they clawed at the wreckage, some with bare hands. The injured hauled away on stretchers, even in the arms of first responders. And that shaking lasted for agonizing minutes.
It got even more intense and really started shaking.
Inside this newsroom, the walls shaking. Throughout the city, alarms blaring, cars frozen the moment the quake struck. At a standstill, drivers scrambling out.
Things in your house are falling over and are shattering.
And throughout central Mexico, those choking clouds of dust, people panicking and praying.
I still don't feel safe. I feel like I'm living in an aftershock constantly.
As windows slip down buildings like sheets of ice, debris crushed vehicles.
Oh my gosh!
The water at this park splashing as if in a giant bathtub. The quake struck just hours after countrywide earthquake safety drills on Tuesday, drills that were put into place after Mexico's deadliest earthquake back in 1985. Shockingly, that quake, which killed thousands, rocked Mexico on the exact same date, September 19th.
And hampering the rescue efforts even more is the fact that there is no electricity in much of Mexico City. Nearly 4 million people cut off from power, and the roads are in such bad shape that rescuers are struggling even to reach those who need help. One more thing, we flew in here to Guadalajara, a 6-hour drive away because the Mexico City airport was so badly damaged. Robin.
All right, Matt, just the destruction that you see there.
A lot of destruction there, and President Trump has sent his condolences to Mexico, saying, "We are with you and we will be there for you," as he continues his week on the world stage here in New York. Today he's going to meet with foreign leaders, including British Prime Minister Theresa May. It's their first meeting since President Trump sent that controversial tweet about the London subway attack last week. And the president's blistering speech to the UN General Assembly, where he threatened to destroy North Korea, taunted Kim Jong-un with a new nickname, Rocket Man. It has sparked strong reactions around the world. We're going to talk to UN Ambassador Nikki Haley about that in a moment. First, all the latest from our chief White House correspondent, John Carl. Hey, John.
Good morning, George. Well, President Trump's grave threat to North Korea is getting some blowback here at home from his critics. One prominent Democratic senator is accusing the president of isolating the United States and using the UN as a backdrop to threaten war.
Let's give this as a toast to the potential, the great, great potential of the United Nations.
With a raised glass and an upbeat toast, President Trump welcomed the world to his hometown Tuesday. But his UN speech is generating headlines about the prospects of war with North Korea.
The United States has great strength and patience, but if it is forced to defend itself or its allies, we will have no choice but to totally destroy North Korea.
Trump's 42-minute speech at times drew audible gasps and murmurs from the crowd. His warning to North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, unlike anything the General Assembly has ever heard from an American president.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime.
The North Korean delegation had front row seats, but boycotted the speech. Some of the Iranian diplomats stayed to listen as Trump hammered their leaders for funding terror. And he lashed out at the nuclear agreement President Obama and America's closest allies in Europe brokered with Iran.
That deal is an embarrassment to the United States, and I don't think you've heard the last of it, believe me.
That sure sounded like a hint the president is considering ending the Iran deal. But today the president meets with the leaders of Jordan and Egypt. Those are our Arab allies that have a great interest in maintaining the Iran nuclear deal. They, George, along with our European allies, are encouraging the president not to walk away from the deal.
Along with UN Secretary General John Carl, thanks very much. Let's bring in America's UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Ambassador Haley, thank you for joining us this morning. You've heard some of that reaction to the president's speech yesterday, especially those words about North Korea. The people John quoted right there, the European Foreign Minister, European Union's Foreign Minister said we never talk about destroying countries. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think what you saw yesterday from the president was he was being honest. I know that
people and countries don't want to hear it. But here is a man who continues to test ballistic missiles. He continues to test now hydrogen bombs. He continues to threaten our allies. He says he's going to destroy the United States to ashes. He says he's going to continue to send us gift packages to the United States. So if you want to talk about who's been giving the threats, it's certainly been the Kim regime. What we are saying is we have exhausted every diplomatic means, and we are going to continue to do that. While he is being irresponsible, we're going to be responsible. But we've tried to do dialogue. We've now tried to do sanctions, and the international community actually very much appreciated the blunt, honest approach that the president took on North Korea as well as on Iran.
The president also said that denuclearization is the only acceptable outcome for North Korea. So does that mean that the United States is going to destroy North Korea's nuclear weapons if Kim Jong-un doesn't give them up?
What it means is he needs to stop. He needs to stop with the hydrogen bomb testing. He needs to stop with the threats. He needs to stop with the ballistic missile testing.
But does he need to give up the weapons?
To the point that we can actually have a regular conversation.
Does he need to give up the weapons?
Yes, he does not need to be a nuclear power. He has shown in every way why he would be an irresponsible nuclear power, and no one in the international community wants to see that happen.
Do you think it's appropriate to use a term like rocket man to talk about a leader of another country who's got nuclear weapons?
Well, I'll tell you, George, it worked. I was talking to a president of an African country yesterday, and he actually cited Rocket Man back to me. So I will tell you that, look, this is a way of, getting people to talk about him, but every other international community now is referring to him as Rocket Man.
And on the issue of Iran, the Iran nuclear agreement, is the president prepared to break that agreement even if our European allies say we shouldn't?
I think the president's just looking at the situation, and what he sees is, while the one part of the nuclear deal is what everybody seems to talk about, the other side of U.S. law says that Iran is actually in violation of ballistic missile testing, of arms sales to terrorists, and of support of terrorists. And so if you look at this, we have to call out the wrongs that we see. If we don't call them out, we will have another North Korea. And so what he is saying is, everybody has to stop tiptoeing around Iran, who they're all worried is going to get out of the deal, and acknowledge these harmful things they're doing across the globe and call them out for it.
Ambassador Haley, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks so much.
Okay, George, we want to go back to Victor Oquendo in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where Hurricane Maria is hitting right now. Victor, what are the conditions right now?
Robin, the conditions just continue to get worse out here. The wind's really picking up, and the debris starting to fly around in just about every direction. This black building right here behind me, moments before you guys came to me, windows just blown out left and right. There was a huge awning on top of that building as well. And if we pan over to the right, if we can, a huge awning just came down right over there. It's a huge screen. It was like a billboard of sorts. It came right down. There's metal flying all over the place. At this point, residents, anyone visiting the island, they've all been told to shelter in place. We know that at our hotel, security came by knocking door to door, telling everybody, get out of your rooms. We don't want you around any spot that has any glass nearby. Go inside this one central room that they've isolated for everybody to get inside and stay safe. Because as you see right now, Maria hasn't even really reached San Juan yet, and we're feeling some very strong effects out here. There's another really powerful gust. For us, where we are, just so you know, in our location, we're kind of surrounded by some concrete here, so we feel pretty safe. But if we need to, we'll obviously move inside. Robin, George, Michael?
Please do. Please do move inside when you need to. Thank you, Victor, very much.
Absolutely. And we're going to go back to Ginger with more on the destructive rain and wind that's slamming Puerto Rico today.
And in San Juan, Victor is less than 20 miles from the outside, or less than 30 miles, excuse me, from the outside of that eye. I wanted to show you the rainfall with the topography of Puerto Rico, which makes a huge impact, up to 25 inches in some of those high mountain areas. Let's get to the hot cities now, brought to you by Las Vegas Convention.
We need to know about your trip to Vegas.
Yes.
Vegas. It was nice. You know, it was...
Out the door today, just a little less fog, but it's still going to be quite warm. Temperatures today a little higher, in fact, than yesterday, close to 80 degrees by lunchtime, and then it's 86 by 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, warm and muggy. Jose pulling off the coast. Any travel troubles with it will be around Boston and Massachusetts, so that's really about it. Tomorrow's high 86, first day of fall 85, and look at the weekend, Sunday, close to 90 degrees, still no rain in sight. We'll pick up a few clouds from Jose on Tuesday. Coming up, we're live in Puerto Rico. Much more on Hurricane Maria as it makes landfall. Millions in the path of that devastating wind and rain.
We need to save Equestria.
On October 6th.
Isaac